Now, the next topic that we'll be discussing is the k-means clustering, which is part of the unsupervised machine learning and majorly a kind of clustering algorithm. So, let's try to understand a little bit about how this clustering technique works and what are some of the important pointers that you need to understand about this k-means algorithm. Firstly, what is clustering? Clustering is where you have been given the entire unsupervised or unlabeled kind of data, where all you have is the x set of values. Where you, let's say for example, k-means clustering especially is useful in the customer segmentation kind of domain. So where you have the entire customer base related data given to you, where you know about their various choices and preferences and their habits, etc. And based on that you are trying to understand those customers and segmenting them into certain groups, so that you can effectively capture each and every group as per their likes and preferences. That is where the k-means clustering kind of algorithm is very very useful. So when I talk about the unlabeled data here, I am talking about all of the details related to customers that have been given to you. So as we discussed, the likes and preferences of the customers, the habits, etc. Based on that, we will try to implement the k-means clustering technique, and we will try to see how the groups or the clusters can be created into the data. So there will be no y variable given to you. It will be only the x set of variables that would be given. And based on this data that has been provided to us, we will try to identify the similarities between those data points. So if two points are close to each other, then they are more likely to be belonging to a same cluster because they are similar to each other. So let's say if there are two people who have a similar like and preference, their eating habits, their lifestyle habits are similar, they probably are similar people and should belong to one cluster. Whereas there are other set of people who have different likes and preferences, right? They probably should be a part of the other cluster. So that is how, on the basis of the distance metric, similarity distance metric, which is the Euclidean distance, the the k-means clustering algorithm tries to group together your data points into groups known as clusters, and that's the reason the term clustering. And k means because k is something that we need to provide to the model, which will enable the model to decide how many groups should be created within that given data. So if I specify k is equal to 5, it will try to divide the entire data into 5 clusters, and those are the clusters that it will return to me as the output. And then all I need to do is uh, customize my efforts to each of the cluster and ensure that it adds more value to my business. So for example, if we were talking about a customer segmentation like problem, suppose if I am able to understand the likes and preferences of different customers, and let's say I'm dividing those customers into 5 customer segments, which are 5 clusters here, then I'll be able to understand what each of the cluster related people are fond of. And based on their likes and preferences, I'll be coming up with some new products or services to offer to them such that they fall prey to those offers and then they end up purchasing through us. So that is the kind of thing that we apply in case of the k-means clustering algorithm. So k, as I said, talks about the number of clusters that we want to divide our data into, and means because we are going to work upon calculating the centroids of these clusters when these clusters get formed behind the scenes. So these centroids are actually calculated uh, by taking the mean of all the data points which are present in that cluster. That is the reason that term means in that name. So k-means is a very popular clustering technique that allows you to do this grouping of the data. However, let me also tell you that it is a time-consuming process because it is an iterative process that it performs. The clusters keep on getting reformed or recluster the data points in each and every iteration. So that becomes a little tedious task. A lot of calculations, even though simple calculations, just like finding out the Euclidean distance is what it does, but this distance is calculated between all of the data points, right? So it does take a longer amount of time when you are working upon a large number of observations in the data as such. And apart from that, let me also tell you that it does consume time to build, but the result that you get is just the cluster numbers, so that you understand ki which data point belongs to which of the cluster at the final stage. But what does each of the cluster indicate, that is a different story, right? So once you get those outputs after building this kind of a model, you will have to spend some time along with the subject matter expert in order to understand what each of the cluster actually represents. So if I'm saying that one particular customer belongs to the customer segment 2, what does that customer segment 2 represent, or what offer or what product should I sell to that customer, that is something that I'll be able to interpret only on the basis of the domain knowledge, or with the help of the subject matter expert, right? So that is one of the challenge related to interpreting the output that you get from the k-means clustering kind of model. So that is another thing to remember about k-means clustering. And it's a very simple algorithm from a calculation point of view, but as I said, we need to do those calculations on all of the data points in each and every iteration. So that is something that makes it a little complex and time consuming as such, in order to work upon. So k-means clustering is used quite effectively into the industry. And along with that, I would also like to highlight that in the clustering segment as such, we also have something called as hierarchical clustering, yet another algorithm that allows you to build a clustering model. But the concept is slightly different there. In case of hierarchical clustering, we try to create dendrograms, which are like the memory uh, of how the clusters were formed at each level, which are the data points that were grouped together, and then finally, how you reach that one single cluster. That kind of memory graph is what it helps you create, which is known as the dendrogram. And based on the dendrogram, you can decide how many optimum number of clusters you may have in that particular data. So in case of the comparisons between the k-means and the hierarchical clustering, this is one point that we need to remember, that in case of k-means clustering, you will have to specify the value of k as the first thing. Either the value is given to you by the client, that I want to create so many clusters, like I told you, k is equal to 5, because I know I need to create 5 clusters. But if the value is unknown, you may also have to identify what is the optimum value for k by using a technique like elbow curve method or a Silhouette score, etc. But you will have to specify the value of k while you are building the model itself. Whereas in case of hierarchical clustering, you can let the model build first, where you are going to plot that dendrogram, and then you can take a call in terms of how many clusters are looking like the optimum clusters there. So by looking at the dendrogram, you can decide the value of the number of clusters in case of the hierarchical clustering. So that's one of the difference. The second difference that you can probably remember is that hierarchical clustering performs more calculations than your k-means clustering. And when I say that, what I mean is there are some linkage criterions and all that it uses, which makes the calculation part a little complex. And this also performs a kind of iterative process in order to do those calculations to finally reach that one single cluster. So it builds a hierarchy of clusters for you, right? So as the name suggests, hierarchical clustering. In order to build that entire hierarchy, it does take a long amount of time. So it is ideally suitable for only less number of data points when you want to cluster, whereas k-means clustering could be suitable for larger number of data points as well. But remember, these kind of techniques are affected due to your outliers in the data, and that is one of the reasons why we say that we should be first be dealing with the outliers, getting rid of them, and then perform the clustering kind of models in order to get the optimum kind of clusters on from that particular data that you're working upon. So yeah, that's a little bit about the clustering category and the two major algorithms that we have there, the k-means clustering and the hierarchical clustering. Now, if you ask me, out of the two, which is the more prominent one that is used in the industry, then of course it's the k-means clustering. And as I said, given that hierarchical clustering is only suitable where there are lesser number of data points to deal with, so it's a comparatively less used kind of model in the industry. But while you work on shorter projects, you can feel free to apply both of those techniques and you can see what is the result that you get. But remember, it's the interpretation part that matters the most, because once you get the clusters created, you will require a subject matter expert or at least the domain knowledge in order to decide what cluster represents which category exactly for you. And based on that only, you'll be able to take it ahead to frame some business strategies that will help you target those various clusters effectively. And another point that I would like to, kind of highlight here is that these algorithms, although they work upon unlabeled data, they help us convert the unlabeled data to the labeled data. So if you're building a clustering model by passing only the X values, you will end up getting the Y values, correct? So those Y values will then make it a labeled data, and then you can use this data in order to implement some sort of classification algorithm probably onto that data. So that is where your semi supervised kind of category comes into the picture. So although um, these techniques are a part of your unsupervised ML and slightly difficult to interpret once you get the output, but they are very, very useful in getting those labels created for your data so that you can go ahead and implement any kind of supervised machine learning algorithms onto it.